is as ever getting cheaper with every launch. And what I mean by that is not the price you are paying when you check out, but the products themselves, because there's been a very interesting change, in particular for the spreads that Meghan Markle is selling. They no longer have branded caps, which will probably save Meghan and her team quite a bit of money. But it's not just the spreads. If you've actually been paying attention, even Meghan Markle's emails are getting less and less over time, as if she's not even putting as much effort into it as she was in the beginning. And this is a sign to consumers that you really, really don't want to highlight that instead of sort of broadening and deepening the brand, she's cheapening it, making it not only easier to produce in some ways, but asking people to pay a premium for less quality than they were getting in the first place. And also not putting as much time into communicating with her audience, a cardinal sin when it comes to marketing and branding. But we shall get into all of these details today. But if you guys haven't been to Royal News Network before, my name is Brittany. I do provide compelling royal commentary. So please hit that subscribe button. I would absolutely love to have you back. Now, I will have to say, I think it was maybe Royal Daily Tea who initially kind of shared that, wait, you're no longer getting a branded cap for the spread. You can kind of see it a little bit here, but when I was trying to get it close to the camera, I think because this is metallic and reflective, it wasn't picking up very well. But you're no longer getting this. Now, this is from Meghan Markle's initial launch. And so this was back in March. And when she was, you could say, putting the most effort into selling her brand. And the decision at the end of the day to take away those branded caps for her next two launches is sort of curious. So if you've never manufactured anything, I'm sure it wouldn't be a surprise to you that it's much cheaper to order plain lids than it is to order branded lids. Now, I have ordered t-shirts before to sell. I order t-shirts when I go on my trips. There is actually a t-shirt I order for everyone. I do this every time. It's branded for the trip. And I usually put where we're going. And most of the time, because either time crunch or what have you, when I order the t-shirts, it's way too expensive to put the additional mark on the back that says where we're going. And this is something that should be obvious. Like the more you print, the more costly it is. And so I think it increased the price from the latest round of t-shirts I got by $100 just to put something extra on the back of the t-shirt. And I feel like that's similar to Megan's situation with the jam caps, is that it's a lot more expensive for her to get this branded cap than it is for her to get a non-branded one. But why does that matter? At the end of the day, because I don't really care about ads ever in a lot of ways, although it's a fascinating example of what not to do in business. And I don't think anybody else is all that attached to this idea of as ever as the brand, except for Meghan Markle. However, it does reveal, I think, the implications behind Meghan's brand and how poorly planned it is, how poorly managed it is, because you should never take away something like this. This should not add that much to the jar lids. Should not add that much to put this branded piece on there. And I think it's actually a good idea to have that piece on there because it elevates this. Because Meghan Markle's whole branding spiel for this as ever mess is that it's elevating the everyday, basically. Now, she does that allegedly through her recipes and what she chooses, but she wants to elevate the everyday. So I feel like having a branded lid is actually kind of a good idea because it sets you apart a little bit from your competitors, which are much cheaper. Because the thing is, Meghan is asking you to pay a premium. Now, it's not like $20 per jar. It is $9 per jar, although 14 for the special collector's edition with the stupid thing that's useless. But if Meghan's asking you to pay more for something, she should be also increasing or maintaining her levels of care in the product that she did during the launch. That you're almost immediately cheapening the brand by not having the branded labels. It tells me a lot about a business that you're not willing to maintain the standards that you set out in the first place. I didn't set the standard of a branded lid. Meghan Markle did. And then Meghan Markle could not live up to her branded lid standard. So let's take a look at the glorious mess that is As Ever, because it is an absolute mess. So you can definitely tell here, it's not even the same lid, guys. So there's grooves in this lid that are not in this lid. So the lid, of course, is very different for this orange marmalade. Now it's sold out, but I don't know if we'll ever get any. And we had, what was her other thing? And if you're thinking, like I could be, that maybe the branded lid is just for the keepsake packaging, if you look at the picture she shows, it still doesn't have the branded lid. But if you go back to the raspberry spread, then you can see the branded lid is right there. So she initially promised this, and this wasn't even the special edition collection. This is the regular one, which she never actually sold. It's really weird. It's been saying coming soon for the last 6+ months at this point. But she definitely did have a branded lid there. Now, what's interesting is that it appears that the apricot spread did have the branded lid here. So the second round did. I've been trying to find the actual website and it's just not coming up. Like the link I've tried putting in the URL and it's not coming up. But it appears like, at least according to Good Housekeeping, that they got the branded lid for the apricot spread, but not anything else anymore. And then as a reminder, this is what her initial concept was, which was this sort of doily thing over the top, which was definitely for a homemade item, but not as much for anything else. And so we had the logo there, but now it's changed yet again. So what can we take from this? Well, again, I think the lack of planning comes into play, but also there is a level of detail there. And for somebody who's so detail oriented, to change that detail, I think is quite indicative of where she wants to go. She's making it cheaper. And for asking people to pay a premium, if you're not getting the same quality you did in the initial batch, well, that's kind of just tacky, you know? It's just not good. So, for example, I work with a company called Ana Lucia Diamonds, and I've got this great sort of teardrop yellow gold and white gold necklace here with diamonds. They're lab created diamonds. And it's this like gorgeous, gorgeous shape. But it'd be like if I worked with Ana Lucia, and if you do order from them, you like anything that I'm wearing, it's all their stuff. If you use code Royal20, you do save 20%. But it's like if you worked with them and you ordered this necklace one time and you go back to order something else and the quality's just not there, which is, of course, not the case with Ana Lucia because it's a smart business. They want to keep their quality the same. And if you start to decrease your quality, what does that mean about the rest of your brand? And of course, a lid is one thing. But what I've noticed as well about Meghan, and again, she's made a big fuss about how I write copy. Does anybody else who's a celebrity who runs a business write their own copy? Well, Meghan, they don't. And I don't know if it's necessarily a great example that you say you do, because we've got something really interesting here. Because I wanted to look, because there's something I've really, really started to notice about Meghan when it comes to this brand. And that is how the copy has changed from the beginning. So here is her initial email. Dear friend, welcome to the joy. And so she gives long soliloquies about different things. I think this is where she says she backpacked through Western Europe. You get the Friends reference here. That's funny. Oh, it's not on this one. It must be the next one. But she's explaining the brand to you. Welcome to the joy. And it's overly wrought, as everything Meghan does is. It should probably be 4 paragraphs instead of like 2 ones, especially a giant one. That's never good for copy. You want to keep things simple and easy to read. So we got a lot of text here. But now let's look at the latest email. And we'll go through more, but I just did want to show you the big difference in the emails now. This is her latest email. Not much copy, is there? Looks really, really different, doesn't it? And I just can't help but look at that and go, okay, so what happened to all this? Because this is an email basically telling you to buy the crepes, orange marmalade, shortbread cookies, and flour sprinkles because she can't sell those right now. So let's go ahead and go back here and look at her second email where she describes her products. So here we go. So we have all the products right here. And she explains the different pieces of the product. She talks about her hibiscus tea. I would have, if I was her and I was doing this copy for an email, because I've actually done email copy like this, I would have definitely bolded this and hyperlinked it. So that way, if you like the hibiscus tea and that idea, you can click it. She should also do the same thing here with the shortbread cookies, the crepe mix, and her fruit spread, although she should have said, explain that it's her raspberry fruit spread and why she likes it. But she gave you a lot of information here. And I think it's, again, a little much, but it shows a level of intention with her products. And she kept to this a little bit in her second launch here with the apricot spread. So this is June 20th. She showed a picture of the apricot spread and explained what it was and the limited edition honey, and then saying the As Ever Rosé was coming soon. So she spent some time to explain the new products. But then we get to the latest launch and come shop as ever, but we got nothing. You got nothing explaining orange marmalade, why she likes it, why this is the next product or anything. It's just Meghan standing weirdly in a garden somewhere by a pond and just saying, "We're live, come shop as ever. Your favorites to toast to summer, to start school. Parents, we see you." I don't know why she keeps saying parents, we see you. She's done that a couple of times. I find it very odd. And to the memories that will be made in the coming months. So proud to be part of those. Thank you for welcoming us into your hearts and homes. But Meghan, what about the products? What are the products? She does kind of, as the apricot spread doesn't sell, she attempts to salvage it with the first time she's done this, which she should have been doing forever ago, is sharing a recipe. But this came out August 30th and her stuff went live August 26th. What does all this matter? Well, to me, it just signals that even within the span of 6 months since launching the brand, Meghan Markle can't keep pace. She's already cutting corners. She's already cheapening the products. Instead of expanding and trying to innovate and make things more interesting, she's actually paring it down. Now, I will argue, of course, that she always started with way too much copy in terms of her emails. But I don't think the answer is to cut that all out and not have a relationship with your consumer. Because the thing is, when she explained why she chose particular things, she didn't say something about all the teas, just the hibiscus one. Well, Meghan, why not have a section talking about the dreaded peppermint tea, which tastes like toothpaste? Why don't you say, "Oh, this is your, alternative to toothpaste," or something? Like, she should be talking about this too. Just because you talked one time about one product doesn't mean you stop the conversation. But she stops the conversation. She's just not expanding on anything. It's like everything dropped and then Meghan forgot half of it existed. And as a consumer, consumers pick up on this thing. If you're not invested in it as the owner of the company, why do you think consumers are going to be interested in it? Why do you think they're going to be invested in it? They're not. They're going to move on to something else because you promise them. I think the part of the Meghan's branding that I think has been a mistake is promising people an experience and then she doesn't really engage with people. Like, if you're going to promise people interactions and connections and all these sorts of things, it can't just be you Instagramming or reposting videos and pictures that other people have shared about your company. You need to be out there communicating with your audience. Instead, this is what we get. I'm sorry, but how am I, as a possible customer to you, as anybody who's a possible customer to you, why would I buy your product based on season shift, but the garden stays magic? I can't see your face. You're not engaging with anyone. It's very dismissive. It's very disconnected. Like, why should people buy your products when you can't even dignify them by looking at them or even consuming your own products? We have only ever seen Meghan for sure consume her raspberry spread, and that's it. She hasn't consumed her wine, any of her other spreads, the teas, the honeys, none of it. She hasn't done any of it, any of her mixes. When she has a picture of her mix she shares, you literally can't see any branding anywhere. Even on the jam she's supposedly using, you can't see it. How do we know? And then, it just looks like she tossed her wine on the ground. Savoring summer's final sips that we say hello to fall. Well, it already feels kind of hello to fall, but like it's on like how am I supposed to connect with that? This even looks AI. We're getting AI now. I feel like this looks AI, and then we have Megan's ridiculous cursive that you can hardly read. Good branding, good marketing people, good leaders want to connect with the people who are going to consume their product. Meghan Markle isn't willing to connect with you in some way, and I'm not saying she needs to meet every person at all, but she needs to spend some time, look at the freaking camera, and actually talk to people. Don't just think that her having a title as the Duchess of Sussex is going to sell products because she's already seen that that's not true anymore. She sold a little bit, but now things are slowing down. And Meghan Markle's true metric is, can she keep things going? I don't think she can. And I think we're already seeing the brand falter and fail. But guys, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. And I shall speak to you again very soon. Bye.